Welcome to Beyond the Alien Eyes, your home for heartfelt HFY Sci-Fi stories. Subscribe, hit the bell, and join our growing community of fans who believe the greatest power in the universe is the human heart. Thank you for watching, and welcome to the galaxy through eyes you've never seen before. The girl who couldn't walk. For 10 long years, Zayra had not taken a single step. She lived in a bright and peaceful colony on planet Velmara, where buildings floated, skies were purple, and aliens moved swiftly with technology built from stardust. But while everyone else walked, flew, and danced with ease, Zayra stayed in her hover chair, silent and forgotten. She had once been a fast runner as a child. She used to race birds across the cliffs. But then came the accident. A firestorm from a mining blast struck her when she was just 12. It didn't kill her, but it broke her body. Her legs stopped working. The doctor said her nerves were too damaged to fix even with advanced alien tech. 10 years passed. Now, at 22, Zayra was quiet, kind, and full of pain. Not just in her legs, but deep inside her soul. She watched others play, work, and fly. But no one looked at her anymore. To them, she was the broken girl, a burden, a forgotten story. She stayed near the library most days, watching the stars from a glass dome. Books were her only friends. She read about ancient warriors, strange planets, and miracles that only happened in stories. But one day something changed. A new worker came to the colony, a human. His name was Marcus Vale, an engineer from Earth. He had been sent to repair broken mining machines and teach the colony better ways to handle older tech. He looked different from everyone else, taller, rougher, with a warm smile and oil stains on his hands. While most engineers wore clean suits and walked proudly, Marcus wore a simple jacket, carried old tools, and often whistled as he worked. One afternoon, Marcus entered the library to fix the climate controls. Zayra was there trying to reach a book on the top shelf. She floated her hover chair up, but the controls glitched, and the chair wobbled, jerking her dangerously. The book fell. So did she. Before she hit the ground, strong hands caught her. Zayra blinked in shock. The human was holding her gently, his eyes wide with concern. "You okay?" he asked. She looked away, ashamed. "You didn't need to help me," she said quietly. "I'm used to falling." Marcus didn't move. "That doesn't mean you should be." Zayra turned her face, hiding her red eyes. She expected him to walk away like the others. But he didn't. Instead, he picked up the book and placed it in her lap. "You like old stories?" he asked. Zayra hesitated. "Yes. Me too," he said. "Especially the ones where people do the impossible." That made her smile. Just a little. The next day, Marcus showed up again. And the next. Sometimes to fix lights. Sometimes to clean old systems, but every time he would stop and chat with Zayra for a few minutes. He asked about her favorite books. She told him about heroes and hope and planets with purple oceans. She didn't understand why he talked to her so kindly, but it felt good. One evening he sat beside her near the dome window. "You've been in that chair a long time?" he asked gently. Zayra looked down. 10 years. "And the doctors gave up?" She nodded. "They said my nerves are fried. Unfixable." Marcus leaned back, thinking. Then he looked at her seriously. "Do you want to walk again?" Zayra froze. No one had asked her that in years. She had buried that dream so deep, it almost hurt to hear it out loud. She laughed bitterly. "Even if I wanted to, it's impossible." Marcus grinned. "Good. I like impossible." Zayra stared at him. "Why do you keep talking to me?" He looked into her eyes and said softly, "Because you're not broken, Zayra. You're just unfinished." Those words struck something deep inside her. That night, Zayra couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Marcus's strange confidence, his kind eyes, his old tools, and his belief that maybe, just maybe, there was still a chance for her to stand. The next morning she saw him walking toward her again, this time carrying something strange in a black case. "Come with me," he said. "I want to show you something." Zayra hesitated, then followed him. The human with strange tools, Zayra, followed Marcus through the quiet outer path of the colony. Her hover chair moved slowly, humming softly on the metal tiles. She didn't know why she was following him, only that something in his eyes made her believe. They stopped at a locked maintenance dome on the edge of the hills. It was dusty, abandoned and cold inside. Most people hadn't stepped in for years. Marcus opened the heavy door and looked back at her. "Welcome to my workshop." Inside were tools she had never seen before. Not the glowing, smooth tech of her people, but old, rough, and strange things. Metal arms, gears, wires, steel parts, thick gloves, and a giant black screen with thousands of blinking codes. Zayra blinked. "What is all this?" "Earth tech," Marcus said proudly. "Built with sweat, sparks, and stubbornness." He opened a long case on the table. Inside were 2 robotic legs, unfinished, rough-looking, and covered in handwritten notes. They didn't float or glow. They weren't polished or shiny, but they looked real. Zayra stared at them in silence. "You built those?" she asked, quietly. "Started 3 years ago." Marcus nodded. "For someone else, but I never finished." She looked at him. "Why not?" Marcus paused. "She died before I could." Zayra didn't ask more. She felt a sharp sting in her chest but didn't know why. Marcus pulled out a small scanner. It wasn't like the clean med drones she knew. It buzzed, clicked, and had wires sticking out. He scanned her back while she sat still. After a minute, he frowned deeply. "What?" she asked nervously. "They looked in the wrong place," Marcus said. Zayra blinked. "What do you mean?" "They scanned your legs, your spine, your outer nerves, but they missed the core link. Right here." He pointed gently to a spot at the base of her neck. She stared at his finger. "That spot, it always felt hot. But the doctor said it was just phantom pain." Marcus smirked. "Sometimes humans feel what machines can't." Zayra whispered, "Can you fix it?" He looked serious now. "Maybe, but it's dangerous. These legs, they're different. They don't connect like your alien tech. They bond. Once we start, there's no going back." Zayra lowered her eyes. "So it's a risk?" "Yes," he said, "but a real one, not false hope." There was silence in the dusty dome. The wind outside howled softly. Zayra looked at her legs. Cold. Useless. Still. She looked at Marcus. Hands rough with grease, eyes tired but full of belief. Then she took a deep breath. "Let's try." Marcus's face broke into a soft, proud smile. That night, he began working again. For the first time in years, they stayed in the dome for hours. He placed the robotic legs on a platform, adjusting bolts and wires, programming with earth codes she didn't understand. He hummed a strange song under his breath as he worked. Zayra just watched silently. One time she asked, "Why are you helping me?" Marcus didn't stop working. "Because nobody helped me when I needed it." She didn't ask again. The next few days they worked in secret. He tested her nerve response using tiny shocks, gentle but strange. He printed soft plates to fit the robotic legs to her skin. He trained her arms to hold weights so her body could prepare for balance. She learned to trust the pain, to breathe through the fear. But word began to spread. Someone saw them leaving the dome together. Whispers grew in the colony. "What is that human doing with the crippled girl? He's going to break her body worse than it already is. She should know better." Zayra heard it all, but didn't stop. Marcus brought her food when she skipped meals. He made her laugh when her muscles ached. One day he held up a mirror and said, "You'll be standing in front of this soon." She shook her head. I haven't stood in 10 years. He leaned close and whispered, "Then let's make history." But what neither of them knew was that someone had reported them. A security drone had followed Zayra the night before, and now the Colony Health Council was preparing to shut everything down. She said yes to the risk. Zayra sat in the dark workshop, staring at her reflection in a cracked mirror. Her hands were shaking. Her chest was tight. She had said yes to Marcus. Yes to the risk. Yes to the unknown. But now, in the quiet of the night, the doubt returned like an old enemy. What if her body rejected the connection? What if she screamed and begged for it to stop? What if Marcus failed, and she lost even the little movement she still had? Marcus entered the room holding a small, metal cube, the brain of the robotic legs. He placed it gently on the table beside her. "It's almost time," he said. "If we connect the core now, you'll need to rest for 3 days. After that, and you'll feel pain, real pain. It's the sign the nerves are waking up." Zayra looked at him. "And if I feel nothing?" Marcus paused. "Then we stop. But we won't give up." Zayra smiled a little. That was Marcus, always sure, even in the dark. He rolled up her sleeves and gently wiped her arms with a cool blue gel. Then he opened the access port on her neck, something no doctor had dared to touch in years. His hands were steady, but his forehead was sweating. Zayra noticed. "You're nervous," he laughed. "Of course I am. I'm about to install legs on someone I care about." She went silent. Did he just say he cared? Before she could ask, a red light flashed above the door. "Warning. Unauthorized entry detected." Marcus's face changed. "They found us." Zayra's heart dropped. The council. Maybe guards, maybe worse. He rushed to the console and shut down the power. The lights dimmed. The screens died. They could hear boots outside, marching, heavy, fast. Zayra looked at the metal legs lying beside her, unfinished, unused. Marcus grabbed her hand. "We have 2 choices. Let them in, or leave right now." She stared at the exit, her mind racing. "I can't walk," she whispered. He squeezed her hand. "Then I'll carry you." Marcus grabbed the metal legs, the control cube, and a small toolkit. He lifted Zayra into his arms. Her head rested against his chest as he ran into the night. Outside, drones flashed searchlights into the sky. A voice shouted from a speaker, "This is the Colony Health Division. Surrender the patient. She is under protection." Zayra's eyes narrowed. Protection? More like prison. They reached the outer landing zone where broken ships rested like skeletons in the dark. Marcus had a plan. He led her to an old patrol skiff, small, fast, and dusty with time. He opened the hatch, tossed in the equipment, and gently placed Zayra into the seat. "I've never flown," she said, breathless. "I'll teach you," he smiled, flipping switches. The skiff roared to life. Alarms screamed in the distance. Search drones swarmed into the sky. Zayra turned to him. "They'll chase us." "Then we fly faster," he grinned. The skiff shot into the air, blasting past the outer gates. Lasers flashed behind them. One struck their tail. Sparks exploded, but the ship held together. Zayra screamed, clutching the seat. Marcus laughed, adrenaline rushing through his veins. They escaped into the night sky, stars stretching wide before them. 2 days later, they found shelter in a forgotten maintenance station on a small moon orbiting the gas giant Daryon 6. No people, no drones, no noise, just silence. And one last chance. Marcus turned the lights on. "This is where we finish it." Zayra was pale. Her legs felt heavy. Her body was tired from the escape, but she looked at the robotic limbs now resting on a clean table, and for the first time, she reached out and touched them. "Let's do it," she whispered. Marcus nodded. "We do this slowly. No shortcuts." Connected wires to her neck port, opened the core nerves, and gently attached the robotic interface. A cold wave rushed through her body. Her heart raced, her fingers twitched. Suddenly, she gasped, her legs, They burned. Not pain from outside. Pain from inside. It was fire, lightning, and ice all at once. It felt like being reborn. Marcus held her hand tightly. "Breathe, just breathe." She cried out, but she didn't stop him. She wanted this. She chose this. And that choice made her stronger than anyone ever knew. Betrayal and shutdown. Her legs were wrapped in support bands, glowing, softly as the robotic systems blended with her nerves. Every few minutes she would feel a pulse like lightning flickering beneath her skin. It hurt, a lot, but it was a beautiful kind of pain. The kind that said, "You're not broken anymore." Marcus stayed beside her the whole time. He didn't sleep, either. He cleaned wires, adjusted code, and kept checking the readouts. His hands never stopped moving. But his eyes kept drifting back to her with a quiet hope. "You're doing great," he whispered as she winced through a muscle. Tremor. Zayra tried to smile. "I think my legs are angry." He chuckled. "That means they're waking up." Outside, the moon was silent. The old station felt like a forgotten graveyard. But for Zayra, it felt like the first place she had ever been free, until the signal came. A red light blinked on the console. Marcus stood up quickly. No, how did they track us? Zayra's chest tightened. Who? Marcus checked the screen. A tracking beacon, hidden in one of the medical tools we took. He looked at her. They betrayed us, Zayra. The Colony Council, someone put a tracker in my gear. Zayra's hands curled into fists. Someone had wanted to stop her from walking, even if it meant lying. But it got worse. Another alert popped up. A fleet of drones had left the colony base, headed right toward the moon. Zayra's voice shook. How long do we have? Marcus checked the timer. 3 hours, maybe less. Zayra looked down at her legs. Still stiff, still adjusting. Still not ready to move on their own. We have to go, she said. Marcus frowned. No. We finish the final stage first. You need control movement. But what if they arrive first? He met her eyes. Then we fight. Zayra didn't want anyone to fight. She didn't want war, she just wanted to stand. But time was slipping away. Back on Velmara, inside the Colony Council chamber, High Advisor Relin stood over a projection of Zayra's escape path. She was never supposed to leave, he growled. The human interfered with classified medical tech. He violated our science code. Counselor Morn, younger and more honest, spoke up. She's not property, Relin. She wanted this. Relin turned cold eyes on him. She's a broken symbol. We made her safe. And he turned her into a risk. The room was silent. Then Relin pressed a button. Send the shutdown order. If the girl resists, terminate the experiment. Back. On the moon, Marcus helped Zayra into the walker frame. Her new legs glowed faint blue. The wires connected. The control system synced. She took a shaky breath. Try to move your left foot, Marcus said softly. She focused. Her muscles trembled, and then it moved. Just a little. Marcus lit up. That's it. Do it again. Zayra smiled through her tears. She tried again. The leg moved more. Now the right. It moved too. Not perfectly. Not smoothly. But it moved. Zayra couldn't believe it. I'm moving. Suddenly, the station lights flickered. The wall display turned red. Warning. System override. Marcus turned. They're trying to shut us down remotely. Zayra's voice rose. Can they do that? If they crash the core, your legs will freeze up forever. He rushed to the console and began typing like a madman. Come on. Come on, he muttered. Zayra watched in terror. Marcus. Then the screen blinked green. Core isolated. Shutdown blocked. Marcus let out a breath. We're safe. For now. But then the roof shook. A blast wave hit the side of the building. Dust fell from the ceiling. The sound of thrusters echoed outside. "They're here," Marcus whispered. Zayra looked at her shaking legs. She had taken 3 small steps. But now she had to choose: run on unstable legs and risk falling again, or stay and be captured. She gritted her teeth. "I didn't come all this way to go back." Marcus looked at her with pride. "Then let's show them what you can do." He handed her a walking staff. Zayra grabbed it tight. She stood. The forbidden flight. Zayra's hands tightened around the walking staff. Her new legs were still weak, trembling like newborn limbs. Every step felt like walking on fire and ice. But she was standing. After 10 long years in a chair, she was standing. Outside, engines roared. The sky flashed red as colony drones landed around the old station like hunting wolves. Marcus turned from the window. "We're surrounded. They're sealing the landing zone." Zayra's jaw clenched. "Then we don't go through them. We go above them." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "The roof hatch?" "It's open sky," she said. "One ship, one chance." Nodded. "The skiff is still here. It's rough, but it can fly." He grabbed his tools and helped Zayra move step by step. She grunted with pain but didn't stop. Not once. Every part of her screamed. Her robotic limbs still flickered with unstable power, but her heart had never felt stronger. Marcus led her up the emergency ladder to the roof. She nearly fell twice, but caught herself. He watched her in awe. "You're already stronger than half the people I've known," he said. She smiled through the pain. "Then they've never known real struggle." At the top, the stars spread wide, but so did the danger. 4 drones flew in a slow circle, scanning the area with blue light. Below, soldiers in black armor entered the station. "We have 10 seconds, Marcus said. He opened a hidden platform and activated the old patrol skiff, a small 1-seat escape craft, dusty but solid. "I modified the controls for you," he said. "You'll have to fly this one." Zayra blinked. "Alone?" Marcus nodded. "They'll be looking for both of us. If you go alone, you might slip past them. I'll distract them." Zayra shook her head. "No, we leave together." He hesitated. Then, she stepped forward, slow but steady. "I didn't learn to walk just to leave you behind." Marcus smiled. "Then let's give them something to chase." The skiff rose from the roof like a silent ghost. Zayra sat at the controls. Marcus, beside her. Her hands trembled as she gripped the steering rods. "Are you ready?" he asked. "No," she whispered. "But I'm going anyway." He laughed. Perfect answer. Just then, a spotlight hit them. "Halt! Unauthorized craft detected." A drone barked. Lasers fired. Zayra slammed the throttle. The skiff burst forward, dodging red beams and flying straight into the starry sky. Below them, drones swarmed like hornets. "Climb high," Marcus shouted. "Past orbit range." Zayra pulled up. The ship shook violently. One blast hit their side wing. "Warning, stabilizer damaged," the system beeped. Smoke filled the cabin. Zayra coughed but didn't stop. She pushed the throttle again. The ship soared higher, breaking through the last layer of atmosphere. Silence followed. Space opened around them like a vast black ocean. Marcus grinned. "We made it!" Zayra couldn't believe it. Her heart raced. Her legs were still aching, but now she could move, she could run, and now she could fly. She looked down at her lap, at the robotic limbs connected to her body. She touched them gently. "These are mine now," she whispered. Marcus leaned back. "You earned every bolt." Just then, an emergency beacon activated. Marcus frowned. "No, that's not us." A voice crackled through the ship's speaker. "This is the Council of Velmara. Return the girl now. This is your last warning. Any vessel that shelters her will be seen as hostile." Zayra stared at the message, her jaw tightening. She pressed the comm button. Her voice was calm, steady, and cold. "Then call me hostile." They flew in silence for a long time. Then Marcus spoke. "Where do you want to go now?" Zayra looked at the stars. I want to find every place that told broken people to sit down, and I want to show them how I stand. The first step, the skiff floated in deep space, silent and calm. Zayra stood in the open hold, facing the ship's wide glass window. Stars glittered like frozen sparks in the darkness beyond, but her eyes weren't on the stars. They were on her legs. The robotic limbs, now fully bonded, rested on the metal floor ready. Her nerves had connected. The pain had faded. But one thing still hadn't happened. She hadn't taken a full step without help. Marcus stood nearby, watching quietly. "This place is safe," he said. "No enemies, no alarms, just space and us." Zayra nodded. Her heart was beating fast. She had walked before, but always with his arm, with the walking staff, with support. Now she wanted to do it alone. Marcus placed something gently on the floor, a small square stone he had carried since Earth. "What's that?" she asked. "A step marker," he said. "Put your foot there. That's all you need to do." Just one step. Zayra stared at it. Her breathing grew sharp. Her legs felt heavy again, not from pain but from fear. "What if I fall?" she asked. Marcus smiled. "Then I'll help you up again." Silence. Zayra closed her eyes. "You're not in the chair anymore. You're not broken. You are not the girl they left behind." She opened her eyes and moved her right leg. It shook slightly, but it moved. Then her left. A deep sound echoed from the metal as her heel touched down, and then her foot landed on the stone. Zayra stood still, arms wide, no support, no staff, no Marcus holding her. She had walked on her own. A laugh burst from her lips. Then tears followed. "I did it," she whispered. Marcus clapped softly. "You did more than that. You stepped into your future." But the moment didn't last. The console behind them beeped sharply. Marcus rushed over. His eyes narrowed. "A broadcast," he said. "From Velmara. It's everywhere." He pushed the sound on. A voice echoed across the ship. "This is High Advisor Relin of Velmara. The traitor Marcus Vale has stolen classified technology and abducted a disabled citizen. We demand their return immediately. Any ship that offers them aid will be targeted." Zayra's smile faded. Marcus looked at her. "They're trying to turn us into criminals." Zayra took another step forward, without help, stronger this time. She stood beside him. "I'm not a hostage," she said. "I'm not stolen." Then the broadcast continued. "We have released surveillance of the humans' illegal surgery. Let this be proof. Earth's people cannot be trusted. Their tech is dangerous. Their actions, reckless." Zayra watched as her image appeared on the screen, her lying in the chair, her screaming during the leg bonding, her stumbling in pain. They had made her look like a victim. Tears welled in her eyes. "I trusted them once," she said. "And they're trying to erase everything I fought for." Marcus clenched his fists. "We can't go back to Velmara, not yet." But Zayra's mind was already racing. "No," she said, "but we don't need to go back." She pulled up the skiff's signal system. "I want to send a message. To the colonies. To the planets beyond Velmara." Marcus looked at her. "A message?" Zayra stared at the camera, her voice calm, but fierce. "Message recording. My name is Zayra Vel, daughter of the colony they abandoned. For 10 years, they told me I was broken. For 10 years I was left in a chair while they claimed their science was perfect. They lied. But a human, a stranger from Earth, and believed in me. He gave me legs not made of light but strength. He didn't promise miracles. He offered effort, risk, pain. And through that pain, I stood. To those who feel broken, forgotten, silenced, you are not less, you are not weak. I took my first step on this ship, and I will take my next step onto a world that sees me as I am. Not disabled, not damaged, but rising. Marcus ended the recording and sent it across the network. "Do you think anyone will listen?" he asked. Zayra stood tall, her legs steady beneath her. "They don't have to," she said. "They just need to see it." "Run, Zayra. Run." The message was already spreading across the stars. Zayra's voice, her story, her steps. It was playing on old colony screens, pirate signals, trade stations, and secret networks. People paused. They listened. And then they believed. From workers on asteroid farms to scientists on cold moons, many had felt what Zayra had felt. Forgotten, left behind, judged. But now they saw her standing, and that changed everything. Back on planet Velmara, High Advisor Rellen's face turned red. With fury, she made a broadcast? How did she override the network? He shouted. A counselor turned to him. Her words are going viral. If we shut her down now, we'll look like tyrants. Rellen slammed his fist on the table. Then destroy her before she reaches any major system. He activated the order, authorizing drone fleet. Operation Silence. In deep space inside the skiff, Marcus stared at the radar. Red blips appeared. Fast. Many. They're coming, he said. Big swarm combat drones. Zayra turned calmly to the console. How long until they reach us? 7 minutes. She didn't panic. She didn't cry. She stepped toward the emergency hatch. Marcus stared at her. What are you doing? I'm going out there, she said. He stood, and Zayra, your legs are mine now, she said. And it's time they see what I can do with them. The hatch opened. Wind rushed in. Cold and wild. Zayra stood on the outer hull of the ship, her boots magnetized. Stars surrounded her like a dream. Her robotic legs hummed beneath her, strong and alive. She activated the beacon on her chest, broadcasting live one last message. They sent machines to silence me. But I am not afraid of machines. I was afraid of never trying again. That fear almost kept me down forever. Not anymore. The drones appeared like metal insects, closing fast. Marcus shouted from inside. Zayra, get back in. But she didn't move. She bent her knees, she focused, and then she ran, across the hull, across the ship, across space. She sprinted with power that defied her past. The robotic legs pulsed in perfect rhythm, her arms pumped, her eyes burned, and the galaxy watched. People cheered in stations, children pointed at her screen. Aliens blinked in disbelief. Zayra, the girl who once sat in a chair, who cried alone at night, who was thrown away, was now running like a starborn. Storm! The drones fired. Zayra dove, rolled, sprang to her feet. She grabbed a dropped tool from the hull and threw it, straight into the lead drone's eye. It exploded in sparks. One down, others closed in. But suddenly, ships appeared. A mix of alien vessels, human rescue carriers, independent fighters. They flew in fast, shields active, guns charged. One of them hailed open comms. We saw your message. You're not alone anymore. Marcus laughed, tears in his eyes. Zayra, you did it. Zayra looked up. She wasn't just a girl anymore. She was a movement. Back on Velmara, Rellen's orders were revoked. The people had spoken. Zayra's name was on every channel. Her step, her run, her courage. It broke through the lies. Days later, Zayra stood in front of a gathering on the moon of Leora. Thousands came. Humans, aliens, reporters, survivors. She walked onto the stage alone. No hover chair, no staff, just her. And the silence that followed was not emptiness. It was respect. She spoke once more. This is not about me, she said. It's about all of us who were told to stay silent, to stay seated, to stay small. We're not small. We rise.